Hello, people watching car reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the 2023 Mercedes AMG EQE. It may look like a bar of activated charcoal soap with wheels, but let me tell you what, this AMG is one of the fastest electric cars I've tested to date. It is no joke. So today, I'm gonna get it in the air, we're gonna nerd out in the tech specs, see how it's constructed, and then go give it some beans. This is a heavy car. That's nerve-wracking. That's a pretty sick rear diffuser. There's a lot of aero happening in this back under panel too. It looks like they mounted the inverter down low behind these cooling vents. There's a ton of bracing inside there as well. Mercedes, forgive me, but I gotta at least see a little bit up inside here. These things just turn and I can gain access. Underneath the sea of plastic, the EQE utilizes a multi-link rear suspension with rear wheel steering. Right there, what you were looking at is the rear steering rack. It's mounted to an aluminum rear subframe, aluminum lower control arms, and that big squishy looking thing is part of the Airmatic adaptive air suspension. And while you really can't see it, there is an anti-sway bar up in there which needs to be measured. It measures in at approximately, that's huge, 27 millimeters. Largely thanks to a 328 volt, 90.6 kilowatt hour battery pack, the EQE weighs in at a whopping 5,534 pounds. That's essentially a full-size pickup truck. Whoa, weird. This is like foam. That is why I've never seen that on the underside of a car before. Usually it's either plastic or hairy cardboard. This is by far the flattest underside of a car I've seen yet. Now the 4Motion Plus all-wheel drive system is capable of an infinite amount of torque distribution capabilities. Up to 160 times per second, it can determine where to send that torque when it is needed. And as far as the transmission goes, each electric motor, front and rear, has an integrated reduction gear, a single speed. As far as the front suspension goes, it's all aluminum, everything, except for that Airmatic damper. That housing is steel. The front anti-sway bar, holy schnitzel. That is massive. This has to be the biggest I've ever measured. Nope, I guess not. It's huge though. 34 millimeter in diameter. That's meant to take a hit right there. Lots of channels for cooling. You can kind of see the electromechanical steering rack up there. All right, it's time for the braking test. No one behind me? Ready? Oh, jeez. I felt like my foot was gonna go through the floor. That did something weird to my head. There's so much mass here and it brought it to a stop so quickly. That braking was just made possible thanks to the largest brakes I have ever tested on a vehicle ever to date. That is a 442 millimeter or 17.4 inch carbon ceramic front rotor. Obviously, with this high end of a rotor, it is a two-piece as well. You can see where it attaches right here at the hat with a 6-piston monoblock caliper. That's 17, almost 17 and a half inches just in the rotor alone. They're wrapped in a set of 21 by 9.5 AMG Y-spoke wheels, which are absolute fire. It was nice that Mercedes equipped it with some special locking lugs so no one will steal these. They're wrapped in a set of two 65/35 21-inch Michelin Pilot Sport EV tires. It's a special performance EV tire. Can't leave a man hanging. High five, buddy. You can see the vents in the front bumper are part of functional aero. Now this isn't just all mechanical braking, it does have regenerative braking as well, and a thing called an eye booster, which kind of blends the feel between the regeneration and the mechanical braking, so it just gives a better braking feel. Out back, things get a little smaller with a single piston caliper and a 378 millimeter or 14.9 inch rotor, and the wheels, they get wider. It's a 21 by 10.5 out back wrapped in a 295/30 Michelin Pilot Sport EV tire. This is a separate piece. That way you can replace these with the smaller ones for the wider European license plate. In the name of science, it is now time to give it the beans. Bolstering assessment, excellent. Top marks for bolstering, and the fact that these seats are full massaging. Let's get straight into that. You select this, comfort, deep waves. That's pretty powerful. You can hear little air bladders going. It's almost like having a cat make biscuits on your back. Okay, and these seats are ventilated as well as heatilated, and the steering wheel. There's 2 rows of touch capacitive buttons. This menu, you can change what your gauges look like. Ooh, track pace. This side over here changes this menu. What is this? Oh, shut up. Really? You can load a track? No way. It has all these circuits preloaded. Hell yeah, look at all the Nordschleife ones. Bridge to gantry? That is awesome. And down below on the steering wheel, there's 2 rotary dial looking things similar to other AMG models, and that is for the go fast bits. If you touch the button in the center, you can change it from sound effects to your traction control, to your AMG dynamics. And then this one down below, you can do the same thing. And you tap off to the side and you can change the setting level of it. There's also another dial on the right, which is kind of like a quick access. I can rotate it and go from slippery, which reduces the power level down to 50% of max capacity. That way you can not crash. Individual, where you can custom configure it yourself. Comfort, which is also slightly reduced power. Sport, tiny bit reduced power. Sport Plus, full beanage. There's variable modes for your traction control. You can tap it once and put it into a sport setting, or hold it down and fully defeat it. And also this thing has a race start, kind of like a overboost, even though it's electric, which gives you even more power than what its just standard power rating is. So, here goes. Ready? Go. Oh my god! Holy fuck! That's good. That hurt my face. That was intense. This has to be one of the fastest electric cars I've ever tested. Good thing this thing's got frameless doors. Do I have to take you apart?
The hood may only be opened by a specialist workshop.
I am a specialist workshop. I feel sorry for Mercedes technicians. This is aggravating. Just open the hood. There we go. No hood struts. No. Is there really no prop rod? Underneath this hood, which Mercedes does not want to give you access to opening or even give you a prop rod to hold it open if you figure out how to open it, even though you paid more than 6 figures for your car, lies one of 2 permanent magnet synchronous electric motors. And to be fair, most people that buy a car like this, they're never gonna work on it themselves. And the people that are gonna end up working on it are smart enough to figure out how to open it and have their own prop rod. This is what most Mercedes customers will never get to see. So there you go, the underside of your hood. If you open up this little doodad right here, there's the massive cabin air filter. Look at the size of this. There's 2 of them. There's a pre-filter and the main filter. That is bigger than the filter for my house. That is crazy. And the headlight assembly has all these little plastic shapagons. I think they're hexagons. I don't know, shapagons works. Now, out back, what you were not able to see is the rear electric motor. That one is a 6-phase configuration, so it's 2 sets of windings, each 3 phases. Up front here is a 3-phase single winding electric motor. Now, both electric motors combined produce a peak output of 617 horsepower and 701 pound-feet of torque at 0 RPM. But that's not all, because this has a overboost feature that bumps it up to 677 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. You'll notice there are two perfectly symmetrical expansion chambers for the cooling system on either side of the giant air duct. And that's because the electric motors utilize a water lance inside the rotor shaft for the liquid coolant to help cool it from the inside, as well as the stator has little cooling jackets in its ribs. On the other side of the spectrum, for cold climates, it utilizes the oil, which yes, this still does have oil, for the single speed reduction gear, the transmission, to then preheat that for the electric motors to help warm them up in cold climates for cold start. Bet you wish your EQE came with an actual carbon fiber hood prop. Beans, oh geez, that does not get old. So first things first, this car weighs over 5,000 pounds, actually over 5,500. And when you start pushing this thing on a windy road, you immediately start to notice that. Now, it does handle phenomenal. The aromatic air suspension does a great job. It definitely stiffens things up in the Sport Plus setting. But it's going around a corner, it just feels like you're sitting on a heavy dinner plate full of ribs and really wet mashed potatoes, and there's a dog pulling on the tablecloth, and that's what it feels like going around a corner. All that meat and potatoes just wants to go sideways, but it's still tasty. Can you tell I'm not really a journalist? You also have to be super precise with your driver inputs, be it with the throttle pedal or steering. And I think a lot of that has to do with how crisp this car is, but also how heavy it is. It shows your flaws in your driving ability very easily. Now with the rear wheel steering this car, under 37 miles per hour, it will steer in the opposite direction of the front wheels, making it maneuver sharper. But on higher speed situations like this, over 37 miles per hour, it turns in the same direction as the front wheels to increase stability. And from my perspective driving the vehicle, I don't notice it whatsoever. So it's clearly doing something probably well if I don't notice it. Like a lot of other EVs, there's the paddles on the back of the steering wheel, which these are actually metal, to vary your recuperation for regenerative braking. But what I like about this one is when you have it in the Dato, the intelligent mode, it's really good. It figures it out fairly well on when to do it and when not to do it. If you're driving it spiritedly, it kind of almost completely turns off. It's a good sized trunk. It's got a little basket over here to stow your fruit in and a plastic tray. Underneath this little door, flat tire repair kit, the bag for the charge cable. It's a really nice door just for charging area. There's actual physical buttons to lower the back seat. It's a fast electric truck. Plug it in. Okay. Now it's beeping, whizzing, and doing things. The hell? I feel like I'm playing laser tag, plugging this thing in the charge. Just plugged into a 110 volt at 88%. It'll be done charging Tuesday. In it. Plug it in, plug it in. Bumping things up to a level 2 charge at 6.5 kilowatts. It's already up to 89%. 1 hour, 46 minutes. That's what's up. Mercedes was sandbagging a little bit on this car because they said the overall total range is 225 miles, yet on the full charge I've seen over 280 on the gauge cluster. Granted, that is driving in peak efficiency. Oh, I gotta put it in comfy. I'm on smooth asphalt. Oh yeah. You notice a huge difference when you put it into comfort mode on the smooth asphalt. Now, when you have it in the Sport Plus setting, it automatically lowers the car 15 millimeters. It does that too at speed, but this car is loaded full of tech and it is a little bit confusing, the learning curve to get used to everything. But once you get used to everything, or if you own another Mercedes vehicle or have owned a modern Mercedes vehicle, you'll learn it fairly quickly. Select this little car icon right here, and that brings up even more menus, and there's a car wash mode just specifically for ruining your paint and automatic car washes. Don't use those. I got heatilation back here, but no ventilated seats. Somebody put great care into vacuuming these floor mats, and I appreciate you. Whoa, it shows you the parts per million for the filtration back here also. These cup holders are confusing to me. Oh, weird, it rotates. Well, the headrest like pops forward. There is an optional giant gauge cluster screen infotainment glass that envelops the entire dash, and I actually prefer the one that's in this because as technology advances and cars get older, stuff like that might seem gimmicky or outdated or just look strange 15, 20 years from now. Right here on the bottom of the screen, there's this little airflow thing that says 1 PM 2.5. Tap on that. Down here at the bottom, you can turn on the fragrance so it smells like a rich gentleman. The little vents that look like turbines, that's plastic, but still pretty neat. There's also a really neat menu that you can go to and see the telemetry of the electrical system while you're driving. So you can see the RPM that the motor is spinning at and how much torque it is producing as you drive. And if you tap down here at the bottom, you can change it from the temperature of everything as it operates, as well as the amperage and voltage of your battery. As well as in case you forgot your wristwatch, you can put one on the screen to stare at, I guess. The AQI gauge cluster for your air quality uses the same color scheme as weather reports do. So right now it's green and it's good. Obviously that's kind of common sense. But when it's really dirty air, it shows purple. Purple stinks. I guess farts are purple. It is now time to give this thing some scores. First up is the bean score. It's the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And the EQE AMG is getting a rating of. Next is cookie score. It's the assessment of value, what you get for what you spend at just over $130,000 as this one is equipped. The AMG EQE gets a rating of. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of car. Next is the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and this RC car gets a rating of. Next is the squid score, it's the assessment of handling, and this thing, well over 5,000 pounds, gets a rating of. It's phenomenal handling for how heavy it is. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and this is getting a rating of. I mean, it doesn't have a roaring AMG V8 in it, but it's still a black AMG sedan, and I have a huge soft spot in my heart for black AMG sedans. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you soon with another. Bye.